Take me for a walk in the morning.
And there was a long wait on that day, on that Friday, to try to find out what had happened. And at one point, me and my sister, we saw their dogs. There was a fireman holding their dogs. Does anyone know who these dogs are? And that we knew they belonged to our family, so we rang up and told them. But just kind of glued to the telly, just waiting for news, had the phone there. And eventually, my brother rang up to say they'd found a body.
Them keeping alive with tubes and thinking that we'd got this very, 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 very severely handicapped baby who was never going to go beyond the age of 2 months. Really, totally nothing working. And then, because you're not thinking clearly in that state, and it sort of became evident that what they were trying to say was actually, we don't have to keep him alive.
And then we had to go and tell George and Sasha, her half-brother and half-sister. And that's when, I'm sure you've read about this, I walked the streets of Notting Hill Gate, just trying to get it into my head so that I knew it enough to be able to tell them. Just trying to go, my arm going, Dad's dead, just trying to believe it, because it was just so hard to kind of realise it.
So then I had to tell the children, and they came in to see him because it was a matter of switching off a life support. You could time exactly when it was going to happen and everything. Well, my son said, I've heard Roderick's quite ill, but can we see him? And so I said, and I took them out and sat them down in the corridor with people walking past because there's nowhere private to sit with them. And I had to tell them myself that he was going to be dying, and then I had to explain, my daughter sat with me for about an hour. The hospital was wonderful. They got him out of the incubator with all his tubes attached, and she sat in her lap and took the whole thing through with her. Whole long, short chat with her. She's only 5.
2 days later, I was on my way from home to a family meeting. I had some time to spare, so I went to St James's Church. And I just went into the service and just made a very sort of inner kind of pledge, really. I would find something positive, and I would understand those that had done it. And so that was the beginning of a journey.
So they came and said, I remember the doctor said, do you want a priest? And I couldn't think why on earth we would want a priest. It still didn't sink in though. It's probably because it probably means he's going to die. It was probably his polite way of saying, I think he might die.
I just heard a taxi with a guy who was from West Belfast. And we spoke, I guess I must have spoken first about my father, and he spoke about his brother who'd been in the IRA and had been killed by the British Army. So we represented 2 sides. And yet we spoke about this world where peace was possible.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience. And this would have been like in November, December, so, just 2 or 3 months afterwards. And as I left the taxi, the words came to me, I can build a bridge. I can build a bridge across the divide. That's one way that I can help.
The only thing that was relevant was that I was in this beautiful room in the hospital, and I built this little shrine which they'd let me build. Was they let us sleep there that night, and this Lama had been praying in Manchester for Roderick when he was leaving his body and stuff, and I could feel Roderick in the room. Yeah, it was very spiritual, suddenly. And I was really happy. I felt very, at that moment, obviously I had lots of ups and downs afterwards, but it felt...
So you were connecting to his soul?
I was very glad I had. Very connected, yeah.
And then I went to Northern Ireland in 85 to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross workshop, and spoke some of my story there, and they expected me to be people from Ireland to be really angry, and they were worried like what I was going to say, and actually by the time I got to speak I was being quite peaceful there, and they invited me to go to speak to different places. It was like a war zone, you know. I mean, nothing quite prepared me for that. Just the whole army on the street, and it was so different from life in London. Worried how they were going to receive me, because what I was saying was different. It was more, I suppose, spiritual. And but I don't know, you know, it was silly to worry, because as soon as I spoke, they just listened, and I suppose it's the first time I felt that knowing if I just open up and speak, that it does something, and people listened and loved it and really helped. You know, they really heard me, and there were a few hundred people there. So that was in '85, and that was my first sort of public talking I ever did.
I mean, it's remarkable that I met Jo and I killed her father, but that she is still willing to meet me.
I also remember that, like, I had thoughts in my head. Like, one thought was, Jo, what are you doing talking to the man who killed your father? Go now. And I thanked him. Thanks for coming. And he said, no, thank you for inviting me. And he was very polite. He stopped talking, and he rubbed his eyes, and he said, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what to say. I want to help. I want to hear your anger and your pain. You know, like, he really opened up, and we were two human beings just holding this together. And it was a big decision to go public with this, because originally it's just a very personal thing. You know, I'm just making that. See him as a human being, and that's it.
For your own.
Yeah.
For your own.
My own
journey,
healing,
yeah.
my own journey. Because I thought if I could see him, if I can experience him as a human being, then that's going to give my humanity back as well. Because that was it. That's all I wanted to do. And then, you know, with people saying, you know, this could actually be a force for change. You know, I'm definitely so much stronger now than, you know, me then was like really quite fragile. But even though I was way out of my comfort zone, I was just about able to kind of keep up with it, you know, what was happening to me.
I mean, the other thing that happened to me with Roderick was less fear actually. Although there's also this thing of impermanence, that, oh gosh, anything could end at any moment, but also less fear, because also I know there's no way, you know, that he came from nothing and went back to nothing. And it's just involved. Oh, I just know it. You know, it's not a belief. It's just that I know that. Yeah. Can empathise and see other people as human beings.
Yeah.
Then they're not going to just, you know, want to carry on the way they're living while other people are starving, or whatever it is that's needed to be done. So you're not going to sit and watch your next door neighbour suffering and not do anything about it. So, with your family.
Well, I think I really do believe is that anything can be transformed, you know, and like whatever we receive can be transformed.
Right here in my life, sparkle in my life, naughty in my life, laughter in my life, sweetness in my life, beauty in my life, angel